What's going on, YouTube? So today I'm going to take the time to kind of go over my boat setup. I haven't done this video yet, but I've asked a couple people about what type of boat I drive and how I like it. So I have the Ranger RT178. It's a 2021. It's pretty much stock except for a couple different things, but the overall performance of this boat has been pretty much flawless for my needs. So we're going to go over the trolling motor setup versus my electronics, kind of how I have my storage set up in the boat, what I use, what I've done to the boat overall, the things that I like about the boat, the things that I don't like about the boat, and just kind of my general opinion of the Ranger RT178. All right, guys, so first off, just a general overview of the boat. Again, it's a 2021 Ranger RT178, stock trailer, stock Mercury 60 horsepower motor on it. Opted with the carpet instead of the crappie version. I just like the layout a little bit better. It came with a hook 2 5X on the front and a hook 2 5X on the console. I've swapped both of those out. I have a hook reveal 7TS, which gives me the ability for the triple shot, so I can side scan from the back of the boat basically, and use it for everything else that I need. But typically I'm just using it for a side scan and watch my maps. On the front, I've replaced the front with a Garmin 94 SV. Also with the side scan. It's been a great addition to the boat. The picture quality is flawless on these Garmin units. I highly recommend changing out from the hook 2X, hook 2 5X to a Garmin, if you have the ability to do it. Also on the front, what I did was I opted to go with the Minn Kota Ultrex. And basically I did that because I wanted the option for spot lock. And I will tell you, I don't fish a lot of lakes. I fish a lot of tidal creeks, a lot of the James, a lot of Chickahominy River, and that tide can be kicking at times. So using that spot lock to the advantage really helps me out. And it doesn't just help me out while I'm fishing, but it really helps me out while I am sitting there and wanting to retire another lure, or take a break, get a drink, or just kind of relax for a couple of minutes, hit that spot lock so I stay where I'm at. Or if I'm fishing a couple cypress trees and I want to stay locked onto it, I'll hit that spot lock and it'll get me there. Or it'll keep me there. So the other things that I did was I bought this pedestal seat. This is just a Bass Pro pedestal seat, leaning post basically. I got a pretty bad back, and so being able to use this thing all day long basically versus the regular seats. I'm really short too. I'm 5'6", so the pedal placement of where these things are, for me, my feet are just a little bit too short, so it makes it really difficult for me to be able to reach comfortably that front pedal and move back and forth. So basically everything else is pretty stock. I do have 3 batteries with an inboard charger. It's really hard to see. It's the stock charger that comes straight from the Ranger dealer on there. I know guys have had problems with it. I'm still into my 2nd year of the boat. I have not had one problem with it. I plug it in for a couple hours and I take it back out at the end of the day when I'm done with it. I don't just let my batteries sit and tinder on them all day long basically. As soon as they're charged up, I cut the unit off and I unplug it. The other thing I did was, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but I installed a inline fuel water separator. These boats stock do not come with a fuel and water separator anymore. They used to, I believe. And it's a really tight space, so it's not a very fun job. But I will tell you, I felt the need to put one in there, so it's in there now. When I first got my boat, it had the fuel pump, or not the fuel pump. It had the problem basically of when I wanted to put gas in here, it would take 20-30 minutes. There was a recall on this. This is the new cap. There was a venting problem with the old one, but they pretty much redid the whole line. You can see they redid this whole section, redid the whole line. I will say it still takes quite a while to fill it up. It does not want to take gas very well. That's probably one of my biggest complaints about this boat. And if you're on the water trying to do it, it's even worse. I've done it twice on the water, and it's just been a really big pain in the ass. But you know, once the gas is in there, there's no problem with it. But it's getting it in there. As you can see, everything else is stock. The trailer comes with these integrated tie downs, which are super nice. A transom saver came with the boat. Again, I'm running a Mercury 60. I get about 32 miles an hour, and that's with me and my wife and a cooler and all the gear that I have in here. Loading this is fairly simple for me. I don't have a problem loading the trailer. I can load it by myself, or loading the boat on the trailer. I can load it by myself. The key things with these trailers, what I found is you really need to make sure you got your trailer in there the right depth. And I know I may say that, and some people may say, well, yeah, that's kind of common sense. For some people it isn't. You know, with every boat you get, you kind of need to find that sweet spot. And for me, I know exactly where my sweet spot is. It's about right here, or more or less right here, I guess I should say, on that side. But it's you know, you just got to play with it and figure out what works for you. Now, a couple of other things that I've done is I've put these gas struts on. I think these are 25-pound gas struts. These are just the cheap ones that I purchased from Amazon and put them on myself. They just go in pretty simple. There's tons of YouTube videos out there. You can watch them. I store a couple things up here that I don't really use a lot. Like I got swim baits, I got my spinner baits, and I got like a crappie box basically. That's what I have in there. Again, the 94 SV sits there. I didn't mount the puck here. If you guys are going to buy this Minn Kota Ultrex and you're going to get the puck, I recommend taking that puck and sticking it back here by the driver's seat. One, it puts it out of the way, and two, it kind of centers the boat a little bit better. I find that the first couple times I had that out, I hit it with the prop, pulling up that trolling motor. It's just not a really good placement for it. I wouldn't have put it there if I had my choice, but it was already installed. The other place I put my gas struts, let me get in the boat here. Sorry about that. I put them on the rod locker right there, which is really nice. And I've put it on this one right here. So you can see I've done a review before of what boxes I used. Here's my Plano Edge boxes. I love it. Works out great for me. Again, quick accessibility to be able to look in there, grab what I need, throw it back in, is why I use those boxes. And that keeps them dry. The other flaw to this boat is that when it rains, everything seems to get wet. There's no true dry storage in these boats as they are stock. I've seen guys where they add foam up here, like a 1/4-inch foam and a 1/4-inch foam in here to kind of make these seals a little bit tighter. But that really wouldn't help with this box here at all, because there's gaps like this in the boat which go directly down into here where the water goes into. Now, on the non-carpeted version, it's really not a problem. It's really not a problem at all, because all these areas down here in these corners where they meet, where the welds are, same for that box, drain out very well. Well, when you have the carpet, they put the glue in and it seals up all those little gaps. So what you find is that the water will pull up and take a lot longer to drain out. Now, it does drain out. It takes a lot longer, but it will drain out. It just won't drain out as fast as a non-carpeted version. If I had to do it over again, what I would do is I would do this version of this boat, and then I would have the whole thing sea decked, without the carpet, obviously. All right, what else? So I took out the rod holder, little black piece that's in here. It's just a couple screws that screw in right here. You can take it out really simple. I found that it was just more of a hassle to get rods in and out than anything else. And I really like this a lot better. Always got rod sleeves on my rods for most of them, and I made those myself. There's some videos out there that you guys can find of how to make your own rod sleeves. Basically, you buy that material right there, and you just get a heat gun and go to town. It's pretty easy. You use a shovel to make your form. Talking about kind of wet versus dry here. This stuff in here, you can see it's pretty much all in plastic tubs. This is the worst spot for water on the boat. That bin doesn't get wet. This one doesn't get wet anymore. And this one still does get wet. But this one will collect all the water running off the deck basically into here. And there will be a couple inches of water if you're not careful in there. So what I did to kind of fix that, and you can't really see this, you can see it here, is there's actually a couple holes that I drilled through that go all the way through to the other side of that box. I did the exact same thing right here. You can barely see them. And what happens is if it gets too full, the water will drain out. And so that's basically the things that I've done to kind of modify it to help with that wetness. I know I could put some more stuff in here and probably seal the tops a little bit better and stuff like that. But the other thing is with this big hatch here, if you pull this out and you run it, you'll have more storage in there. But the bottom of this, inside of it, it's carpeted underneath it. It will get wet as well. But if you keep this bin like this, then none of this stuff will get wet as it rains, as it seals around this edge right here. So I just keep that bin in. These boats have plenty of storage for what I need. I kind of got it narrowed down to exactly what I use, unless I'm going out somewhere on a lake that I've never been to. I typically bring the same exact stuff. Now, the craftsmanship of the boat, I would say, is, probably, if I was going to rank, out of 100, I'd say probably a 90, 95, somewhere around there. There's some things that I really don't like that they did, like how they matched or how they got the carpet together here. But that's just really minor, small cosmetic things. The rest of the carpet is really good. I haven't had the problem with the carpet, getting pulled up anywhere or anything like that. I spent a lot of time. I spent almost every weekend on this boat, so it gets used quite a bit. You can see, like, right here is another kind of spot where where they married up both pieces of two different carpet and didn't quite get it very good. But that's the type of stuff you get when you're buying a bass boat for under $30,000. I mean, you kind of get what you pay for. This is not a top of the line Ranger or a Vexus or a Phoenix or anything like that. So I have a really small payment and I can run all the creeks that I want to run, and I don't have any problems. The other things I don't like about the boat are these cheap cup holders. They're, in my opinion, pretty much worthless. You've probably seen it on other reviews, but they're pretty much worthless. You got the flip up seats here, which you can put a lot of stuff in here. I just kind of put the essentials down in there. You can take this seat out as well. This seat comes out really easily. It's just basically those 4 screws, and this can come out. The only reason I haven't taken it out is because when the wife comes out fishing with me, she'll like to lay across the seats and kind of relax. And so, I've left it. I had it out before and I put it back in. Basic live well works very well. Don't have a problem with it. You can cap it off on the other side and actually turn it into a dry well if you want. I've just left it. Rear storage, I keep a bucket and a rope, a couple ropes in there for dock lines. These actually stay really dry too. So if you wanted to put stuff that you wanted to keep dry in there, you could. Same exact thing on the other side. This is where my rain gear goes. So if I'm out, you know, it's going to be really bad, then I'll grab the rain gear, obviously. 3 batteries in the back, pretty simple. Bilge pump down there. I guess the only complaint I really have about this back compartment is that it's super tight. It's super tight. When these batteries kind of die, the plan is to go lithium in the next couple years. 1, to reduce some weight, and 2, to reduce some damn storage, or increase storage, reduce the capacity back there. A couple other things that I've done is here in the James River, we fish for striper. And so I have mounted flush mount rod holders back there and back there. I haven't really used them. I've used them on different lakes. I haven't used them here in the James yet, but I have used them. Let's see, instrument cluster, pretty basic. You got your speedometer and your fuel quantity indicator. Jumps all over the place as you're running because it's a basic fuel float, and I think probably everybody has that complaint about these boats, and in a lot of boats. I put a RAM mount for my phone over here. You got your RPMs, your trim tab, or your trim. The trim is not very accurate in my opinion. I can be trimmed all the way up and it won't say up. I think it's just a calibration issue basically. You got your bilge pump, your aerator. You got a free floating one in case you need to add something. You know, you got internal lights, and then you got your anchor lights and your horn and everything else. So overall, I really like this boat. The other thing I don't like about this console is I'm sitting all the way back, and I can't even touch the steering wheel, basically, barely. So for me, when I'm running, it's not comfortable. I have to sit up to grab the steering wheel. Again, I'm 5'6". This boat is not made for the majority of people. Again, you know, it's not Ranger's fault that I'm a short guy, but I would have liked a telescoping steering wheel just to make it more comfortable. Again, it's not a high-end item, high-end boat, so you're not going to get it. And I think the placement of the Lowrance units are a little bit too low, because you can see, you know, if you're sitting back, you can't see it. Now, if I'm taller, you know, I'd have to be significantly taller, almost a foot taller, for me to see over that. And it's still kind of blocked. I've seen guys cover these up, raise them up, put the flush mount unit and pop it up to where they can tilt it and do what they want to do. I've seen guys move it over here and put it off to the side. Again, I'm using it for side scan when I'm going really slow, looking for structure and rocks and stuff like that. I don't have a problem with it. It's not that big of a deal. All right. So the foot pedal, recessed foot pedal, for me, that's a must. It's really comfortable. You got your trim up here you can change from the front of the boat, and your nav lights you can change. It's pretty basic, guys. It's pretty basic. There's plenty of room up here. If you want to fish 2 people on the front, you could do it. I fished 2 people on the front, 1 guy in the back. I fished 3 people, 1 in the front, 1 in the middle, 1 in the back. I've spent a lot of time in this boat. Like I said, almost every weekend. And that's really it. I mean, the boat is I can't remember what color they call it, gray. I have had this trim molding kind of pop off when I've got rubbed on a dock a couple times when I was at Smith Mountain Lake. But it just pops right back in. I mean, it's a rub rail. It's what it's for. You can see, I don't know if you can see it. Maybe the camera can pick it up, but you can see the welding, or the parts where the metal is welded on the inside. Again, it's an aluminum boat, so you're gonna see that stuff. It holds up pretty good. Yesterday I washed it, but you know, these gray marks, if you hit something small, it will show up. But overall, we saw the paint has held up pretty good for 2 years, and I don't baby this thing in the water, guys, at all. I'm up in the weeds. I'm up in the grass. I'm up in the sticks. You can see from my trolling motor, from the transducer, from the top of the trolling motor. I'm up in the sticks. I'm up in everything, and I hit stuff all the time, and it holds up pretty good. I don't hit it hard. I recently put on this sticky tape, traction tape on here. To help when I get off of it. Maybe next year I'll put a trick step on here. Again, trailer load's pretty simple. One of the things I've seen on reviews is these welds crack. I haven't had any issue with it. It's been 2 years. We'll see what happens in a couple years. Maybe I might have to replace it, maybe not. But again, I take pretty good care of my stuff. I watch what I do. I'm not going down the road 75 miles an hour, and I generally, look for potholes and stuff like that. So one of the things I did last year, as you can tell, is I removed all the decals. And the reason I did the decals is because right here you can see I had a scratch, and the scratch went through the decal. And it just looked like crap. And, I kind of thought, well, what would this boat look like if it was kind of super clean? So that's what I did. I cleaned it out. I took them both off with a little heat gun, a little elbow grease. If you get the boat new and you take them off pretty soon, then then it won't be that big of a deal. It's pretty easy. I think one side, took an hour. The other side took a couple hours. My buddy who did his boat about 5 or 10 years old, and it took him significant more time than I did, obviously. All right, my Ranger chrome letters. This boat comes with Ranger chrome letters on the side of the boat. I broke off part of an R somehow when I was at Smith Mountain Lake. I didn't notice it till I got back. So what I did was I went to Amazon and I found a replacement. This is actually for the Ford Ranger tailgate inserts. And, they're thick and they're hard plastic, and they were $14. Ranger wanted $100 for one R. And I just couldn't see paying that. And these have been on for about 3 or 4 trips now. I think they're going to do pretty good. I like the way it looks a lot better. That's all I had left of my R. But I got my chrome letter still, just in case I ever want to go back and put them back on there. But, again, it's got a 60 on the back. I can do about 32 miles an hour. The boat's been good, man. I really haven't had, too many complaints about it. It fires up when I need it to. That little Mercury sips fuel. I think it's a 15-gallon tank in here. Yeah, 15 gallons. And for where I fish, that means about 5 or 6 trips, depending on, how far I really want to run. It's a slick boat. It's a good entry boat. Now, this is not my first boat, and it probably won't be my last boat. But I will tell you, it is one of my favorites so far. I know aluminum boats get a lot of crap. But this thing rides really well. It doesn't got the best hole shot. But again, it's a 60. I think these boats are rated up to 90 or maybe 70. I can't remember. But when I was looking at the specs, it was like 150 more pounds of weight, just for like an extra 2 or 3 miles per hour. And plus it was going to cost, I think, another $1,500. So I really couldn't justify making that purchase for my purposes only. Maybe you're running lakes and you're running far, but I don't know. You have to kind of make that determination on your own. I know there was some people that had put out some reviews about hole issues, about having their welds crack here, and having the boat basically being split here. Haven't had any structural component issues, major issues at all. And you don't know the backstories of those boats. Of course, you're going to hear hundreds of horror stories, and you know, one time somebody does something real bad with their boat and it breaks a weld, and, you know, the brand has got a bad reputation. I know, you know, since the ownership has changed on this boat, the quality has probably gone downhill a little bit compared to what Ranger used to be. But I will say that the boat is solid. I've been in some pretty gnarly, nasty stuff and got caught between a couple wake boats when I was at Smith Mountain Lake on accident, and you know, lost a rod and, you know, slammed it pretty hard. And I think that was a pretty good test. You know, now if you do that over and over and over and over every weekend, you know, just like anything else, it is going to break. So just keep that in mind. The trailer tongue is a little bit short for my taking. I wish there was about another, you know, foot or two on here. And that's just to help with being able to get out and stand on it and, you know, everything else. But overall, again, I'm really pleased with the boat. Drop me your questions if you guys have any questions about the RT178. I'll tell you anything you want to know. I'm getting about 32 miles an hour out of it. I know some guy, and I have the stock prop that comes with the Mercury. There's nothing special to it at all. It's all stock basically. I think a lot of it's just weight distribution, you know, doing it correctly and not overloading the boat for what it can do. But yeah. All right, guys, so there's my review of the RT178. I hope you learned a little bit something about the boat. I hope that you got some questions answered, and if you're on the fence about whether or not you think this is a good purchase or not, my opinion, it's a great purchase, good entry-level boat. You know, if you're comparing this to maybe the Express boat or to a couple of the other ones out there in the market, they're probably all fairly similar. You're going to get the same type of performance out of most of them. And it depends what you want to spend, obviously. So again, hopefully you guys learned something. Drop me a line. Let me know what you think about the video, or let me know what you think about the boat. If you have an RT178 and things that you found that you didn't like it, or things that you found that are similar to what I found. Or again, if you just have questions about different things of the boat, let me know what you think.